So you live in San Francisco. By the way, we're at Union Square. Okay, where was I at? Oh yeah. Okay, so you guys live up north in San Francisco, but you're contemplating about making the move to Irvine. Well, I've got a couple tips for you. Stay tuned. Good luck. Stay tuned. Okay guys, so I want to go ahead and share this article with you that was published in the Los Angeles Times in March of 2021. During the last 3 quarters of 2020, San Francisco saw the largest percentage increase in residential exits than any other county in the state of California. Despite suggestions of a California exodus to other states in recent months, get this guys, many residents who leave that region do not move far. Aside from Texas, other Bay Area counties, urban centers in Southern California, and counties in the Sierra Nevada mountains tend to be the most popular destinations for those leaving San Francisco. So look, if your company, the company that you work for, if their headquarters had moved out to San Francisco because perhaps you guys were in tech, then I get it, you're gonna have to move to Texas, and the cost of living is obviously gonna be cheaper. But you can tell that a lot of Californians don't like to leave California because they just love the weather. So it's interesting that many also, now that you're able to work remotely, have been making the shift and the move to urban center cores in Southern California. So we get phone calls from Bay Area county residents, also people from out of state that ask, what's it like living in Irvine? So here are 5 tips you need to know. Tip number 1, how much does it cost to move everything from the Bay Area to Irvine? So if you're going to be moving from San Jose to Irvine, it's obviously going to be cheaper, but I'm calculating these costs based off of downtown San Francisco. So remember, these are going to be based off a professional company, not if you're U-hauling it yourself. If you're going to be U-hauling it, of course, that's going to be cheaper. But let's just say I got 6 bids, okay, and 3 of them were from Western companies and 3 of them from Eastern. What I mean by Eastern is that they do speak English, but it's going to be either a Mandarin or a Cantonese owner. So based off of a 3 to 4 bedroom, about 2,200 square feet in the Bay Area, moving into a 3 to 4 bedroom home, about 2,400 square feet in Irvine, I got from a Western company $5,000 to $6,000 for the entire move. From the Eastern companies, the cheapest one I found was $3,650 all the way up to about $4,800. So on the average, moving from the Bay Area, let's just say San Francisco once again, to Irvine is going to run you anywhere between $4,500 to $5,000. That's not including tip. You probably calculate about $200 per employee on your tip, but on the average, $4,500 to $5,000. Okay, so tip 2, what is the cost of living in Irvine versus the Bay Area? Now, for a lot of you guys, this is going to depend really on your salary, your job title, if you're purchasing, if you're renting, that's going to make a huge difference. If you have a family, if you're single. So I think the best way to analyze this really is to break down a cost-benefit analysis. But we did our study, and overall in every category, it seems to be that obviously living in Irvine is going to be a lot cheaper than living in the Bay Area. And this is what makes Irvine such a top destination place for a lot of people moving out of Northern California because of the attractive weather, the great schools, how safe it is, and also because it's cheaper. Now, I know that's hard for a lot of people to understand because living in Irvine is actually very expensive for most consumers and residents across the US. But if you're coming from Silicon Valley or the Bay Area, this is actually going to be cheaper. So to my right, bam, according to Best Places, let's take a look at some of these statistics. Okay, Irvine is 30.5 to 37.5 less expensive than it is in San Francisco or Silicon Valley. In Irvine, health-related expenses are 5% less than they are in the Bay Area. Food and groceries, get this, are 10% less in Irvine than they are in the Bay Area. And then transportation is 47% less expensive in Irvine. Last, I found this interesting, but utilities are 0.8 more expensive in Irvine than the Bay Area. Now let's talk about salaries over here. Salaries are obviously going to be less in Irvine than they are in San Francisco. Now it depends, once again, maybe they gave you a remote job that they kept the salary the same and you're allowed to work anywhere you want, then great, more power to you. But typically salaries are 12% less in Irvine. I found this interesting. In order to be comfortable living in Irvine, if you're single, you would have to earn about $85,000 to $120K to live in Irvine. I'm probably going to err more on the side of 120K because I know what it's like to live in Irvine, and you know, if you have depends kind of how you're living, if you're kind of high maintenance, but I would err more on the side of 120K. Now if you have a family, 180 to 250K is what you need to earn to live in Irvine. You know what, folks, it seems like those costs are going up every day. But at the same time, because although your salaries are lower, the cost of living is also going to be lower in Irvine. Last, let's take a look at this category. Irvine housing costs are 37.3% less expensive than they are in the Bay Area. Now remember, guys, home costs are going to be the biggest factor when you look for a place to live out in Irvine and when you contemplate about coming out here. The housing market that includes San Jose, Sunnyvale, and Santa Clara, California, are one of the most expensive places to buy in the U.S. with a median home price of $1.65 million. It was followed by San Francisco, Oakland, and Hayward, California at a median price of $1.35 million. Anaheim, Santa Ana, and Irvine, California at $1.1 million, Honolulu, Hawaii at $1.05 million, and Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Glendale, California at $860,900. So as of the end of 2021 into 2022, it looks like the average price for a home in the Bay Area is going to be anywhere between 1.5 to 1.6. Now in Irvine, although Best Places said it was about 1.1, I'm going to kind of err more on the side of 1.3. That's for like a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home, you know, somewhere out in Northwood. So the whole point is you guys should do a cost benefit analysis and do your own due diligence. However, after doing ours, it's going to be obvious that it's still cheaper to live in Irvine than it is in the Bay Area. Okay, tip number 3, which freeway do I want to live closer to, the 5 or the 405? So first and foremost, you probably want to calculate where your work is, if you're closer to the 5 freeway or the 405 freeway. And you have to ask yourself, like, am I going to be working or socializing kind of in the north section of Irvine or in the southern section of Irvine? Do you guys remember that video that I shared with you? Moving to Irvine, you know, 6 areas that you need to know. So we're going to go ahead and share this map with you. But you want to ask yourself, is most of my life going to be happening near the 405 freeway or the 5 freeway? And once you take a look at this map, it'll help you select what areas of Irvine you want to move to. Okay, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and start by sharing my screen with you guys. So hang tight because I'm going to show you that map of Irvine. All right, here we go. So you want to ask yourself, do I want to be closer to the kind of more northern section? Is it the 5 freeway? Or do I want to be closer over here to the 405 freeway? So if you were to choose the 405 freeway, let's just say all the businesses are over here, you know, then you're going to ask yourself, like, should I buy a home out in Irvine Business Complex, the IBC? Would I be living in West Park 1 or 2? Woodbridge, even in Turtle Rock, or, you know, the University Town Center, you know, Shady Canyon, Quail Hill, Laguna Altera, or let's just say, you know, I kind of want to stick with homes out in the Northwood area. And if you're closer to the 5 freeway over here, then you could think about Walnut, Woodbury, Northwood Point, Orchard Hills, which is over here, Portola Springs, you know, Altera over here, and then of course the Great Park. I hope that helps, guys. Okay, so tip number 4, which neighborhood center or retail center do I want to live near? So I'm going to start by sharing my screen with you guys. And what I'm going to do is direct you over to the Irvine Company's website. And I want you guys to go to shopirvinecompany.com. And then I want you guys to hit centers over here. So let's go back to that map that I was referring to. Okay, let's just take Northwood once again as an example. Let's just say you've been hearing all this stuff about Northwood or Northwood Point because this is near Northwood High School. You like the northern sector and you're like, I gotta be here and I'm close to the 5 freeway. So someone like me is gonna know that this is near North Park Plaza. But if you're out, out of state or in the Bay Area and you don't know, you guys can just feel free to call me. My number's on this banner. You guys could email me and just say, hey, what's the neighborhood center that I need to be near? But let's just say you click on North Park Plaza. Like for me over here, I know that there's an Albertsons over here. I love the Chilean, cuisine. I know across the street that there is a Zion Market on Irvine Boulevard that's not far. And for me, obviously, because I'm Korean, I need Korean food. And so the market is going to be the number one important thing for me because, I go to the Korean store for all my vegetables and my fruit because they're so fresh and they're cheaper than going to a more westernized or American market. But I know for me, it's Zion Market I have to be near. But for somebody else like that lives near here, maybe perhaps they're more into Culver Plaza and they need to be near, let's just say Ranch Supermarket and then the East West Bank, that's their banking, that's their ranch. So this is another important factor because there are so many retail centers in Irvine. And sometimes, they just get really busy. And like maybe Panda Express is on top of your list, or you need all of these things, You Dream Dental, you need Wagyu, whatever it is. So the retail center is another way you want to start kind of shopping around. Going back to our map, let's just say, okay, for example, let's just take another area like Orchard Hills. Orchard Hills is so far up here, and same with Portola Springs, that you're going to shop, really, you're going to be spending a lot of your time over in the Orchard Hills Shopping Center. And so if you look at this, like the Orchard Hills Shopping Center, maybe these shops appeal to you, or maybe they don't. And there's a Montessori school over there's a McDonald's, Chevron gas station, a Pete's Coffee. You're from up north and you got to have Pete's Coffee. So that's another way you want to start kind of just, figuring out, do I want to live in this sector or do I want to live here? Let's take another place like Woodbury or Woodbridge. Perhaps maybe you're near Woodbury and you're like, I have to be near a Trader Joe's. So because I know this area, once again, I know that in the Woodbury Town Center, I'm going to be near a Trader Joe's. So you want to go to this website and just kind of check it out and you'll see a Trader Joe's down over this way. But this one's got a bunch of stuff like Home Goods, Home Depot, Hoag Health Center, everything you can name to eat, even like your workout place, and maybe, like I said, going to Walgreens and banking over at Wells Fargo Bank is very important to you. Now, if you live like farther down here and you're like creme de la creme and you're like, I gotta be in Turtle Rock or Shady Canyon or the Irvine Business Complex where all the businesses are, you want to live in like a more urban place, then like you're going to be shopping at the University Town Center. And so this map over here, once again, is going to help you determine, University Center and University Park Center, like all of the retail spots and where you're going to be kind of hanging out in. So I hope that helps you guys. And just remember, go to the Irvine Company's retail page and look up these retail neighborhood centers. And that's my tip number 4. Okay, tip number 5, if you're looking for a city with character, Irvine's probably not the place that you want to go. So what makes Irvine so great at the same time can make it so boring, and that's because, the Irvine Company owns this place. And so everything from their homes down to their retail, down to the city planning was done in such a strategic manner. And a lot of it was to prevent crime in the city and to make everything uniform. And to make things manageable. So you're not going to find the city full of character. The great thing about the Bay Area is that if you're a Bay Area resident, I can come into the city at 2 a.m. and find a bunch of eateries. You know, I could start in San Jose. I have Milpitas, Sunnyvale, drive an hour into the city, and then you've got Emeryville, you've got Palo Alto, Berkeley's got so much character. And when you go into these cities, you know, there's so many one-off hole-in-the-wall eateries, but and that's what makes, you know, the Bay Area so great. There's a lot of character in the city. When you're in Irvine at 2 a.m. or even 12 a.m., pretty much the city's going to sleep. But I tell everybody, you know, if you want to get your character fix and you're looking for a place of character, you can always go down, hit Laguna Beach. You can go to Mission Viejo. You know, if you need great Indian food, you can always go to the outskirts of Irvine and go into Tustin, go into Costa Mesa. If you need your Vietnamese food, you can go into Little Saigon and Westminster, which is not that far. If you need your taco truck, you know, you can go into Santa Ana. And you've got to remember that Irvine is the complete, you know, polar opposite of somewhere like New York or San Francisco or Los Angeles. You know, even though there's a huge Chinese demographic out in Irvine, it's not going to be the same like San Gabriel Valley. But you can go to San Gabriel Valley. It'll take you an hour. Koreatown will take 2 hours. Although there's a huge Korean demographic out in Irvine, it's not going to be the same as K-Town, and you can get your fix there. You know, there's going to be days where you feel like West Hollywood. You feel like Jewish food, you know, Persian food. And so a lot of these places I want to say are more like 1.5 hours to 2 hours out. It is a hefty drive from OC to LA, but I'd rather have a city that's protected. It's going to be boring, but I could raise my kids in it. I could send my kids to school, feel safe, kind of feel a uniformity within the community, even though it feels like, you know, Stepford Wives. And then if I need character, I can always take the weekends and go out to LA. I could go to Mission Viejo. I could go to San Clemente, whatever it is, Laguna, you know, Little Saigon, you know, Westminster, San Gabriel Valley. I would rather have something like that. So you're not going to get a lot of character from the city, but you can drive an hour to get your character. Hope that helps.
If you want to sell your home for top dollar, call my mom and start packing.